Hey guys, how is everyone? I don't think there's anyone here yet. It's okay. I'm still interested in how you're doing. Fridays, weekends, live streams, you never know what to expect. Sometimes lots of people are around, other times lots of people are busy. I try to be good either way. So, yeah, I've been thinking a lot about my channel, what it represents, what I put out there. Um, what can it be? What's its potential? And I don't have any clear answers. I should note that I really don't have any advice to people unless it's about ultra running or it's about burpees. I know maybe meditation. I am a certified teacher and I've been doing it for a long time, and breath work and yoga. Um, but that's really dealing with fundamentals. I don't know if it's that truly could be called advice, but life advice, lifestyle advice, um, I don't think I have it. I don't think I'm supposed to have it. What I can do is sit and talk with you and we figure it out together, or we don't figure it out together, and we're okay with that too. We're always looking to improve and improve and improve. Self-improvement's a big industry, probably maybe the biggest publishing aspect. You can make a profit telling people how to improve themselves. First, tell people what's wrong with them, and then so write one book on what's wrong with someone, and then write another book on how to fix that. But two things: is there a constant need to improve? What if we just we just would be relax in our own beingness, and that doesn't mean that within that relaxation things don't get better. Within that relaxation, that maybe um, we don't get the sense of maybe I should do this instead of that. I don't think I could have. Well, maybe I could have. I'm thinking about when I quit drinking, and I talked time and time. Our friend Eric Lapointe stopped by, gave a thumbs up. Um, I've talked quite a bit about that and how it occurred, and it wasn't through self-improvement. It wasn't through self-help. It was just this great moment of relaxing and realizing I'm done. I've done it all. I drank it all. I've been as drunk as I'm ever going to get. I'm never going to get more drunk than I've been at one time or another. And everything just disappeared. The urge to drink left me. I didn't read a book on how to quit drinking. I didn't attend meetings. After I quit, I went to a few meetings because I was looking for um, something to replace the social aspect that was missing when I quit going to bars. Um, and I realized when I quit drinking, I went to bars, I didn't belong. When I went to meetings, I realized I didn't belong. I was in my own category of me. What I realized I needed was to be alone for a while, to sink in my own healing and see where it led me, to be quiet for a while. I might have been there for a very long time, except I met Milka and we started a relationship. This was 3 years after I quit drinking when I met Milka. I think it was enough time. I still had some healing to do though. um, and that became evident in the relationship. Not that not that it affected our marriage, but um, being a rather one of the reasons I started drinking was because I was a solitary person. I was shy, and drinking brought me out of that. When I quit drinking, when my meditation deepened, I went deep, deep into the solitariness of my being, and happily so. So, getting into a relationship brought me out of that to an extent, but it stayed with me. And I think that probably affected my marriage quite a bit. Our friend Destiny is here. Destiny says, hello, how are you? I'm good, Destiny. How are you? We had quite a ride this afternoon. It seems like things have been a little circular. One live session um, that's quiet and relaxed is followed by one that is rocking along. Both are good, as long as as long as we can be helpful on those occasions. But I think it's these sessions, or at least the way it's starting, um, they're so nourishing. I think it gives us the energy to handle those tougher live streams. Destiny says all is well with me. Awesome. Destiny, I left a comment on one of your videos. I'm trying to remember which one, um, about the Ayurveda, which I thought you might find interesting. Um, it's a fascinating subject, and they use herbs, dietary means, um, relaxation techniques, self massage, um, all kinds of stuff to help heal. And the healing takes place, you know, if someone has a sore throat, you don't just look at the throat. You look at all the conditions that have lent themselves to bring that sore throat around. And that goes from diet to lifestyle, um, everything. Eric Point said, I did want to say something earlier, but those packets are not poisonous. Um, he would have gotten awful sick probably, though, and maybe damaged himself. I like the question that our friend Flower asked to Aaron. Um, do you really need help, or are you seeking attention? That was, she's a young girl. That was a really insightful question. Um, and my thoughts to that, as I mentioned to her, was the two can be the same thing without anyone even realizing it. If people come in to troll, they're doing so to get attention. Um, and you ask, so what is it? Why do they need attention? What needs to be healed? What do they feel is lacking in their life that attention, negative or otherwise, um, is going to provide something? So yeah, often, you know, I'm urged to ignore trolls, and I sometimes I do for the sake of the entire live stream, the entire conversation, and other times um, I don't think of it as feeding the trolls. I think of it as lending attention to possibly help in some way. And you never know if that's going to be the case, if that's going to work. You take a chance. Everything's spontaneous. I had no idea what to say to um, Night Watcher. I've talked to people who were suicidal before. I've had friends who've committed suicide. I was friends with my stepdaughter's father who committed suicide. Um, I've lost quite a few friends that way through the years, as well as through other tragic events, as I think probably most of us have. It is what it is. Hashtag burpees at God above all. Our friend Lewis. Lewis, how are you? Um, so, all you can do when you're talking to someone who is threatening that, maybe there's a script to follow. I'm not trained in that, so it had to be spontaneous. Destiny says, okay, I will check my videos to find the message. Very interesting. This sounds somewhat like herbology. Herbology. I'm not familiar with that. I'm going to look that up. I got Wikipedia up. I was reading about Hopi mythology or cosmology. I don't like mythology so much as you're basically saying what the Hopis believe is the origin of the universe, the origin of their world and of themselves as a people, and calling it a myth. We don't say, we don't say Christian mythology, or, I like the term cosmology better. Lewis says, I'm doing great, Eric. Thank you. What's going on for the weekend? You got your 10-mile run, and did you ever iron things out with Leo? Destiny says, you must have a deep sense of discernment to look deep within the soul to find the truth. I agree. And even then, I think you find a version of truth. I know there's lots of schools of philosophy and thought where there'll be truth with a capital T, and there's only that truth. But that truth can appear in so many ways. It's like saying, there's only reality, which is true, but the reality, and I'll use my favorite example of the desk. The reality of my desk, for me, is one of a solid desk-like thing that I stub my toe on very often, too often. And yet, if I were to take it apart, the reality of the desk would be parts. And if I knew nothing about those parts, they would just be things, objects. And then if I took a nuclear or an atomic microscope and I kept examining it, going deeper and deeper and deeper, I'd see that it was actually 99 point infinite number 9% emptiness. So which reality is reality? All of it. The one that matters most to me when I stub my toe is the reality of the hardness of a desk. Let's see. Lewis says, no, I don't know if he can invite yet, and I can't either because you have to have him join me. But we'll see him. We'll see. I'm ready. You're always ready. I have a feeling that it is what it is. Can do 1,000 burpees at the drop of a hat. And if no one had a hat, he'd take off his own and drop it. Desi says, Eric M., I have my PhD in herbology. It's the study of the eyes to detect what illness is trying to attack the body within. Wow, interesting. In Ayurvedic, the people who are masters of it can tell you all the stuff that's going on in your body and some might say from past lives and into future lives, by taking your pulse, getting an energetic reading of the pulse. Really, really fascinating. But you don't even need to do that. For me, um, Ayurveda is just healthy principles for me to follow, like the tongue scraping and the oil pulling, um, how I eat, what time I get up, meditation, when I meditate, um, what time I go to sleep. All of that is based upon Ayurvedic principles. So I'm going to have to look that up. That sounds fascinating, Destiny. And it comes right up on the Google. I never really cared for the term um, alternative medicine. Healing is healing. There's no alternative to healing except for being sick. Um, for the longest time, everyone considered um, Chinese medicine to be alternative medicine. Um, but who was it alternative to? It wasn't to the Chinese. You had thousands of years um, of having it work. Destiny says everything has their truth and beliefs. I learned that no one is right or wrong. It's just their perspective on life through how they see it. That's just my thoughts, Eric M. It's very similar to William Shakespeare and Hamlet. Nothing, nothing be good nor bad, lest thinking makes it so. Um, in Vedic philosophy and psychology, they talk of reality being the unchanging and Maya, illusion, being all the things that change. And that we are at our happiest when we relate to the unchanging and not the changing. We realize that the changing happens, so we hold it loosely. We don't, and as Destiny said, we realize that everyone has their opinions, their beliefs, what they consider true. Um, but just because they consider it true, does that make it ultimate reality itself? I think a lot of our problems in life socially is um, unable to hold our opinions and beliefs lightly and making the demands, why don't you have the same opinions of me? Why are you so wrong and I'm so right? Why can't you see that I'm right? Um, I think we've had that experience with our friend Laradox, that he is Christian and everyone else is wrong because they're not Christian. And even if you're a Christian, you're wrong if you're not his type of Christian. And even if you're his type of Christian, you're wrong if you don't believe in every single aspect that he believes. And that's a tough way to go through life because you're always making someone wrong. And you always have to uphold your version of that truth. And that's tiresome for you to always have to do that. You can't ever entertain a moment of doubt. And if you do, you have to cast it as a sin. That, man, I had this moment of sin, this moment of weakness, because I gave consideration that maybe Jesus isn't anti-gay, that maybe Jesus isn't, anti-transgender, or that maybe Jesus didn't actually have an opinion on abortion. Maybe Jesus thought people should make up their own minds. If you even have that thought, then you got to punish yourself for being a sinner. Although, as we mentioned as I mentioned to him, and other people as well, sin, translated from Aramaic to Greek, simply meant to miss the mark. It didn't mean that you were going to hell, burn in hell. It meant that you simply made a mistake. That would be like an archer missing the bullseye. He sinned, so he's going to go to hell. Destiny says, hello, Lewis. How are you doing, Mr. 205 burpees today? Medic says, God-fearing. Yeah. Never made much sense to me. And how are you, Medic? I enjoyed your scenic walk today, by the way. Lewis says he's doing good, resting up. Medic says, hey, Eric and Eric. Hey, you didn't get us confused, did you? I would hate for you to call me Eric when you meant to call me Eric. Desi says, I do not think like that, as to think my way of doing something is right, and the only way to do it. I embrace every person's thoughts, because this is how I learn and grow into more knowledge of truth. Yeah, that's certainly evident with you, Destiny. I always see your open embrace to what comes your way. And as you mentioned above, having that sense of discernment, that just because you accept everything doesn't necessarily mean that you bring it into your life and hold on to it if it doesn't serve you in some way, or if it doesn't allow you to serve other people in some way. So yeah, for me, I love seeing that you have that wholehearted embrace, and at the same time that sense of discernment. And I think things like that, the impression that I get is that was something that you didn't learn that the easy way. You didn't learn that by everything going perfectly well and fine in your life. That you learned that through the bumps and the low points, as well as the high points. But life itself brings us those lessons. That's why when people are ready to give up, it's always, there's more lessons to learn. I think it was Richard Bach who said, in the end, everything will be okay. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. Medic says, okay, Eric, now I still don't know who you're talking to. Medic says a repost. Still pretty awesome, as all of yours are. I know you put an awful lot of work into them. I love viewing your channel, but the impression that I get more than anything is that it's a work of love. It's a labor of love. You are putting heart and soul, and there's no half-hearted videos on Medic's channel. Eric Point says, EK Medic, they were talking about you on Mayhem and Miracles today. All good things. Medic says, as far as I know, Eric, everyone says positive things about me. Of course. So it's an interesting topic to talk about. We talk about truth and versions of truth and reality and versions of reality. Eric Point says, my nickname growing up was chicken. If two Erics are too much for everyone. I think we can handle 2 Erics. No more. We got to cap the limit. Medic says, there have been trolls that have doxed me. Remember you mentioning that. In an awful way, too. Airing something deeply personal and wish me dead, but the normal folk seem to like me. Well, speaking on my behalf, the highly abnormal people like you too. Medic says, I'm going to change my name to Eric. UK Eric? We'll answer to both. Let's see. So I had I had Medic up and running through the day. Met Eric. It has a nice ring to it. just a UK medic named Eric. Just a UK medic named Eric doing YouTube shorts in his basement. So I think my standard reply to people who might come in looking for help is honesty. I don't know if I can help you. As I mentioned, who was it, Aaron? I think all we can do is provide space for someone. The thing with advice is I might be wrong. I don't want to offer someone advice and be wrong. I'm okay being wrong for me. I'm not okay being wrong for someone else. Not for important matters. So, you know, from the start, just letting people know, hey, this is just a channel, a live stream where we provide space for each other. We offer our thoughts. Heck, we might even offer our opinions. And we do our best to be helpful, to be kind, but I really can't give advice. A UK medic wearing shorts on his deck. That's the one. That's the one. Medic says, I always said that those of you who think you know everything are annoying to those of us who do. Well, to be fair, I am nothing if not annoying. But we've been having some interesting times on the live streams, that's for sure. I mentioned before, reading the Hawaiian art of well-wishing, uh, shamanistic approach, and they talk about leaving your wishes open-ended because every wish has a dark side. You wish for a long life, and you live an additional 20 years um, with an ailment that might leave you worse off, feeling worse. Medic says, you know the difference between God and a surgeon? I don't. Destiny says, just Yogi doing burpees in his basement is the heart of humanity and loves all mankind. That's why you're loved by so many people, and people always have a positive and good things to say about you. Thank you for that, Destiny. Squirrel Sniper says, the surgeon has an oath to Apollo. God doesn't think he's a surgeon. Ah, ah, I like that. Squirrel Sniper is here. Greetings again, Eric. Hello, my friend. Eric says, always a pleasure. Squirrel Sniper, it is always a pleasure. So I was mentioning in the beginning, um, saying I really don't have advice, but I sort of take that back. If you have questions about ultra running, if you want to run 100 miles, I have some advice. If you want to know how to do burpees, if you want to know how to meditate and do breath work, I have advice. Um, if you want advice on will meditation make my wife or husband love me again, I don't have advice. If you want advice on should I take this job or not take the job, I don't know. I don't know at all. And even in those all important questions of um, should I harm myself? My opinion, the answer is always going to be no. Don't harm yourself. Um, but how do you convince someone? I don't know that you can. If someone is set that the world is harsh, things are never going to get better, um, you can offer an alternative view. That doesn't mean they're going to buy it if they're set on doing that damage. Medic says, massive respects to surgeons. Oh, yeah, definitely. Squirrel Sniper says, they certainly put him back together. Put my father back together again as well. Several times. And the last time was for a burst gallbladder 3 days after being released from the hospital with pneumonia, being 90 years old. And the doctor said by all rights, he shouldn't survive that. And yet he did. And 3 days later, he was walking around using his dumbbells and exercise bands. Wonderful example for me. Medic says, when someone says walk a mile in my shoes, who cares about their opinion? You're a mile away and you have their shoes. This is true. So, okay, I would have advice for somebody like that. My advice would be don't give your shoes away. No matter what the other person says, don't give your shoes away. Destiny says you can only know your own truth because people outside of you have their own truth because all experience things in different ways. I definitely agree. Medic says truth is relative. Truth is faith, says Squirrel Sniper. Or we could say truth is what remains when all of our opinions fade away. When we no longer have opinions and beliefs, we have truth. Truth itself, this is if we're equating truth to love, to consciousness, to awareness. Awareness is always unbiased. Awareness doesn't care if you're right or wrong. It doesn't care if you're Christian or Buddhist or Hindu. Awareness simply accepts and accepts and accepts everything, unbiased. It would be the perfect description offered by St. Paul in Letters to the Corinthians, all encompassing. And what we have are simply neurochemical impulses firing in the brain, producing a thought that for some reason because it's in our brain, we think it's true, and we think it's even worse, we think it's us. That's the basis of yoga psychology, is the false belief that we are our personality and that we are our thoughts, the thoughts that make up the personality, when in truth, we're simply aware of all of that. We're aware of those thoughts. We're aware of the personality. And it's a singular awareness, the same awareness that is noting all of my thoughts is the same awareness that is noting all of your thoughts. So we're both aware of a tree, but we have different opinions. Our personality produces different opinions of that tree. I see a beautiful tree, an expression of God's love. Someone else sees lumber, boards, planks. Man, I could knock this tree down and build something with it. Our friend Brian Lane is here. Hey guys, forgot to say earlier, with Night Watcher, the best of healings. Thank you for offering that. I hope he is back tomorrow, feeling better, and ready to dive back into life again. Dusty says, perception versus presumption. I like that. Awesomely said. We all perceive, and then we make that presumption about it, and all of those presumptions are personal. Fidus, Roman goddess, the defection of good faith and honesty, bona fide confidence. That's truth. Huh. Brian says, actually got evening off, Eric, and that was another thing that was getting to my sleep, was getting home after 10, then eating. You definitely don't want to eat too close to going to sleep. In Ayurvedic, they'll say wait the very most 2 hours. I was going to offer some suggestions. Getting first sunlight as early as possible to your eyes is a huge help in getting to sleep later. Breath work through the day, and you mentioned that in your video that you practice the Andrew Wheel's breath. What was it? The 4-7-8 breath. If you do that before bed, and you can do that for a few rounds, you don't have to do it just once, but it's good to practice it twice a day to be truly effective. Brian says, saw Destiny's video on the treadmill. Great way to celebrate the day. Destiny certainly knows how to celebrate. I see every one of her treadmill and rope jumping videos as a celebration of life, a prayer, a full body prayer of celebration. Brian says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you for that, Brian. Medic says, genetics played a major part. My parents divorced when I was 1 year old. I dated my father until I was 30, yet I talked, sat, and spoke like him. Wow. I've been reading quite a bit on epigenetics, how traumatic events early in our life, even later in our life, how it affects the expression of our genes health-wise, as well as I've been talking about the generational epigenetics. Things that happen to our parents affect how our genes express themselves, which kind of, and grandparents and farther back, which kind of sucks that my genes might be unhappily expressing themselves because of something that my parents or grandparents or great grandparents said, did, or ate, for that matter. At the same time, we also know that a gene's expression isn't fixed, that we can alter it ourselves. If someone did something 3 generations back or more, and it's affecting our genes now, then our genes are flexible by nature, which is actually a relatively new way of thinking. Desi says, thanks, Brian. I saw your burpees video earlier, too. Awesome and smooth burpees. Some of the best in the game, that's for sure. Brian has power to spare. Medic says, or Eric Point says, same here. So, Eric, you met your father late in life? Scroll Sniper says, the moment of conception is the start of something we just really take for granted, but it's secretly the most magical thing that is possible. I would agree with that. Reminds me thinking in terms of materialism, that, materialism puts down pantheism and panpsychism, that consciousness precedes matter. Matter is derivative of consciousness itself, and that everything has a material explanation, that cells just happen to be arranged in a certain way for life to be produced, or that, the Big Bang was just a happy accident of the singularity of energy that expanded. Of course, I always mention there was something that had to give that singularity of energy the impulse to expand. But when I think of materialism, I think that's just as magical as anything else. That inert material somehow arranging itself to produce the life that we know it. It's pretty amazing. So no matter how you view life, from materialism to panpsychism, pantheism, it's all miraculous. Every little bit of it. Personally, I go towards that consciousness first, that everything originates from consciousness, but I'm not married to the view. Medic says, it's almost natural cloning, as I know. Look like my father did when he was in his 30s. Wow. I only later in life started looking like my father. Growing up, I certainly didn't. Brian says, well, sometimes when I work, I don't get home until later and a little bit later, and then sometimes, and it can mess up your sleep schedule. Yeah, it certainly can. So definitely the breath work before bed, anytime you can uh, do a longer exhalation in your breath work is going to put you into the parasympathetic nervous state, which is the rest and digest. So not only is it going to help you sleep, it's going to help you digest. You can do a 4-7 breath. Box breathing would help as well. The 4-7, simply breathe in through the nose, the silent pause, you breathe out through the nose. Breathing in for 4, exhaling for 8. And if you want to make it more powerful, put your hand in the Vishnu Mudra, seal off the right side. So you breathe in through both nostrils for a count of 4. And remember, it's a count of 4. It doesn't have to be for 4 seconds. It's your count. And then you seal off the nose. You exhale through your left for a count of 8. That's one round. Do 10 rounds of that. And it's a very, very powerful parasympathetic breathing method. Medic says, yes, Squirrel, I agree. Squirrel Sniper says, UK, my daughter is a spitting image of my mother when she was 11, 3 generations. Genetics is certainly amazing. Dusty says she's agreed with that saying, Squirrel Sniper. Medic says, my greatest joy as a paramedic was to assist in bringing life into the world instead of dealing with people close to death. I can imagine. I can imagine the emotional toll as well as physical toll that it must have taken on you on those the most injurious or the people dying or close to death, and then to be able to do something as beautiful as assisting a life come in is really beautiful. At the same token, being able to assist someone passing is no small gift either. If you can help someone not feel alone when they're passing away, or just be a presence for them, or just hold their hand. Man, I was really privileged to be holding my father's hand when he passed away. And then I continue being a presence, breathing, offering prayer after he died. It's said that the mind itself remains conscious for hours after you pass away, shutting down slowly. So I made a vow that at no point was my father going to feel alone. Sniper says, ego loves the material because it takes away the magic moment of time away from you. I agree with that. I talked about that quite a bit too, how sometimes we reach that point where we start letting that magic go. We start believing more firmly in the material and the ego, and we let that magic go. And how I was fortunate to have the right people and the right books come into my life and re-enchant me with the magic of the world. Squirrel Simple says, I stay away from all isms. My grandfather's last words of wisdom. Smart. You mentioned that to our friend Night Watcher today as well, that you weren't Christian, that you left it behind you. Destiny says, Brian, you want to try sleeping in a dark room with soft instrumental music or nature sounds video? First let go of the say and the day and the worries before lying down to sleep. Meditation would be a great way to do it. Awesome advice. And the darker the better. Um, even the light of a phone. They also say if you wake up in the middle of the night, don't look at your phone. Don't check to see what time it is, because your eyes react to the light of the phone, making it that much more difficult to fall back asleep. Squirrel Sniper says, I find when I'm shooting, breathing comes naturally to me. It changes to half breaths and shallow, so the heart rate slower. I feel very comfortable at the moment. Control my flesh suit consciously. It's a great explanation. I've been experimenting that with because I use a little handheld power zoom camera, and I notice if I don't slow my breathing, my hands are going to shake just a bit. I'm always adjusting, but I take that longer exhale, and there comes that natural pause. And right then is when everything comes together. Everything begins to flow. I think of that. I think it was Eugene Hegel. He wrote Zen and the Art of Archery. Excellent book for photographers, by the way. Medic says, thought of the day. If you look like your passport photo, you are way too sick to travel. That's true. Or my license, or any form of ID. Brian says, thanks for the advice, Miss Destiny. Yeah, sometimes I do all those. Brian says, but I haven't been doing the breath work at night as much as I do those every morning. Yeah, think of it in terms of hygiene. My sleep hygiene starts the moment I wake up in the morning and continues until I lay my head, because during COVID, caring for my father, losing my business, all kinds of other life stuff happening, but it was life stuff happening in the midst of a pandemic. Um, I made a vow my father was not going to die of COVID. He wasn't going to be isolated in a hospital alone. I was going to keep him safe no matter what. Um, and of course, as soon as I made that vow, things began to test me. I won't go into details, but there was just people and events that seemed to want to put my father in a place that might not be his safest. And although I thought I was doing everything right, handling stress, meditation and breath work, yoga, I teach how to alleviate stress for a living. And so I didn't recognize the signs that my body was experiencing anxiety and stress. And I was having horrible anxiety and horrible insomnia as a result of that anxiety. I couldn't lay down. I would pace the steps very quietly all night long so I wouldn't wake up my father. It was pretty bad until I embraced a sleep hygiene that included waking up early so I could get even earlier than before. So I got my meditation in without feeling like I had to fit it in before I had to help my father. We had plenty of time. I got my writing in. I got out and did my walk to get the early sunlight to my eyes. I can't begin to stress how important that is for sleep hygiene. Explained it before. Happy to explain it again. Brian says, I live in a basement. It's dark as a cave. Good. Brian says, I feel like I live in a bat cave, no windows really. Well, I don't like doing videos in that room. Yeah, it sounds good for sleep because it's dark, but it's also good to get light in during the day. Eric LaPointe says, Yogi, how long do you wait before drinking coffee? I have 2 hours is best. 2 hours from waking. It is. I'm up at 2:30, and within minutes, sitting, I'm doing my breath work, and I meditate, and then yoga. So almost 2 hours, and I never gave it thought, but it seems to naturally fall in about 2 hours after I wake. Um, I limit myself to 1 cup a day, as I mentioned, and I used to love drinking coffee all through the day. Brian says, Andrew Huberman says, wait 2 hours. I wait like an hour. Brian says, I do mouth tape and nasal breathing at night. I did mouth tape for a while. I think once you train yourself to be a full-time nasal breather, um, you might not need to keep up with the mouth tape. It's not a bad practice, though. Destiny says, Brian, that basement is dark and good for sleeping at night. But when morning comes, it is best to get out into nature, breathe, and adjust your eyes to the beauty around you. More excellent advice from our friend Destiny. So here's the importance of sunlight as early as possible. As soon as sunlight hits the eyes, your body starts producing. Now I'm drawing a blank. It starts producing adrenaline and basically stress hormones, which doesn't sound like a good thing, but we need it in certain amounts to help us face the day. We need to be into that parasympathetic nervous state to conduct business, but we want to go into it gently. We don't want that spike that we get when someone yells at us and we get cut off in traffic. So adrenaline, norepinephrine, I'm drawing a blank on the other, is produced in just the right amount. And here's the great thing. As the day goes on, those hormones begin to die off, and in their waste material, the body produces melatonin and serotonin, which are the very hormones that we need to help us relax and go to sleep later at night. So no early morning sunlight, that natural production of hormones, and they're dying off, and then the production of hormones again, doesn't happen in the proper circadian rhythm. So we do breath work in the morning, like the breath of fire, where that wakes us up and puts us in that sympathetic nervous state. And then through the day, we sort of ease into more relaxing breathing methods. Keep us a little bit on, not relaxing too much, just enough. And then at night, we want to go full bore to enter into the parasympathetic nervous state. And that's when we double up on the exhalation. So you could do box breathing, 4-4-4-4, or you could do breathing in for 4, exhaling for 8, or you could do the breathing through the left side, or alternative nostril breathing, where you're breathing in for 4, seal off the nose, hold for anywhere from 4 to 8 to 16, and then exhale through the nose for 8 and repeat. That would be 1 round. You do 10 rounds. Brian says, yes, it's good, Miss Destiny. It's just sometimes I get up to go to the bathroom a couple of times. After the first few times, I can't get back to sleep. Hey, Brian, are you turning on the light when you go to the bathroom? Whenever you turn on light, even going to the bathroom, just for a minute, your eyes begin to wake up. Your eyes respond to the light, even, lamplight, even a flashlight. What I do, I'll use a little flashlight, or um, it might be good to have like a little nightlight in the bathroom, but have it really, really super dim. And with a flashlight, when I use it, I have it turned away. Erica Point says, Yogi, how are you watch hours doing? I try playing all the videos I can. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Brian says, and I'll let you know 1 second. Not really. Do I turn on lights? I don't like to. Good. Excellent. I'm going to bring up my channel real quick. As of this morning, with 5 days on hold, it's showing data as of May 12th. I have 2,961 watch hours. I'm 39 away from the 3,000, which is the first level, and of course 1,039. With those 5 days held, I'm willing to bet I am at the 3,000 mark. So I think I might be able to start that first level of monetizing Monday. And then I really need to push hard for that 4,000. And then I just need to up my YouTube game. Thank you for that, Eric. That's really much appreciated. Man, you all have been a huge, huge help. When I first started thinking about monetizing and I looked at that, the first thing I did was I thought 10 million YouTube shorts views in 90 days. I don't see that happening for me. And then I looked at the 3,000 and 4,000, and that little graph that they have was so far away. But like anything, you start and you detach from the outcome. I can't think about being at the 3,000 mark or 4,000 mark. I can just think about what I do today. Can I put on a good live stream and have a great conversation? And if watch hours accumulate, that's a bonus. That's awesome. So I gave myself to just the process of being on YouTube, having fun, trying to be meaningful. Which is different for me. I heard a politician, I'm not going to mention names as they don't like talking politics, but I did just want to say I heard a politician say he was just trying to stay relevant. And I thought, why stay relevant? And what is relevant to who or to what? The only relevance that matters is the relevance that you have for yourself. It's better to be kind. It's better to be meaningful. It's better to be authentic and unique. And then let things happen on their own. To be relevant means you always got to try to please someone. You always have to be producing something for other people, and you're never producing things just for yourself alone. Make a video of cows in a field because you love cows in a field, and that's reason enough alone. That's what I love about Eric LaPointe's Cows in a Field, the holy cows, and all of your views, all of your shorts. Same with Brian, and same with Destiny, and same with UK Medic. They're just so authentically you. No one else does them. No one else does them like that. Lots of nature videos, but no one ever sees nature like that. No one ever has that view of the entirety of the universe itself. No one else is right there looking through those eyes with that camera right then. That's something only you offer to the universe. I think about that when I do my live streams. It doesn't matter if people come in or people don't come in. It doesn't matter if I stumble over my words. None of it. What matters is just being authentic over relevant. YouTube is filled with relevant people. Social media is filled with relevant people. But how many truly unique people? We could probably count that. And I'll tell you what, I feel awful blessed to have the so many truly unique and authentic people come and hang out with me. Eric Point says, nice, thank you. Brian says, we'll start watching more of your videos. Thank you, Brian. That's much appreciated. But a lot of people just did, man, watching, a lot of videos, people can get bogged down in it. You could play a playlist and not even have to pay any attention to it. Brian says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you for that. Squirrel Simple says, for mine, Brian, he was number 3. Brian says, oh, my device probably isn't loading it right. So here, speaking of authentic, did you guys watch Brian's update on his channel? What he's doing, why he's doing it? That might be the most authentic thing on YouTube. Squirrel Sniper says, you get a view on top of a 20-foot, 120-year-old English yew hedge. Man, Squirrel Sniper, I don't know why that just sounded so completely, well, I think I do know why, just so completely awesome to me. Because awesome, awe-inspiring. Man, it's almost like I'm there. Destiny says, Eric McCarty, thanks for the amazing fellowship of beingness. To find solace, I come here for this film. I gotta leave, and I will see you in chat later. Enjoy your weekend. Much love, fam. Thank you, Destiny. And much love to you as well. Always appreciate you being here. And I appreciate these, the calm time that we all get to share with each other. Scorsese says, on my channel as my first video. I'm looking forward to your upcoming carvings, Squirrel Sniper. Eric Point says, yes, that's how I feel. You're seeing what I see. And no one else in the entirety of the universe is seeing that. Until you show it to them. Until you show it to us. That's why every single YouTube short, every single nature video, is so, for me, it's just so amazing. Medic says, my wife says I'm one kind of side. Thank God. I think my ex-wife would say something similar. Destiny says, good night, Eric Lapointe, Squirrel Sniper, Brian Lane, UK Medic. Blessings and love to you all. Good night, Destiny. Thank you again for being here and for all you do and all you bring to YouTube. Not just here, but YouTube itself. So yeah, definitely check out Brian's video. Squirrel Sniper says, I need to take my daughter on her camping trip on Monday now and collect her on Wednesday. So carving will be on and off next week. but the following week for sure. Awesome. Medic says I have a motion activated camera set up now to capture the foxes, etc. When they enter the property. I have a field cam as well. I haven't set it up yet though. I'd need to. I'm looking at a Squirrel Sniper short right now. Him doing tree work. I gotta say, Squirrel Sniper, you're pretty limber up in that tree. It's amazing work. Medic says I have a motion activated camera set up now to capture foxes, etc. when they enter the property. I read that. I think I mistaken it for Squirrel Sniper though. How do you find the quality of those cameras? Eric LaPointe says he has them as well. Squirrel Sniper says keeps me fit. Yeah, I could see as it would. You definitely have to be limber. And I'm looking at your mushroom. That sounded a little odd. I'm looking at your YouTube short of the mushroom that you carved. That's awesome. Medic says, well, my latest nature video, one of the foxes stands right next to me, and she has even sat on the back door waiting for me. Man, that's so cool. Absolutely love foxes. They make the most, when they're happy, when they're being petted, they make the most incredible sound. Squirrel Sniper says, did you see the Great Hedge of China? Not yet. I see the ancient burial site. Trees, squirrels, and fairy tales. I don't see the Great Hedge. Ah, there it is. I'll have that up and I'll watch it before I go to bed. That's on the video and not on a short. Medic says animals just seem to like me. I wonder if, for one, I think it's a natural thing. You know, they say if you practice ahimsa, which is non-harm, that animals are drawn to you. But I also think the fact you being a medic and being drawn to healing and helping, and I think that gives people a certain quality that animals respond to, that innate sense of wanting to heal and wanting to help. Not to mention the things that you've witnessed and that you've seen that sort of breaks you open and causes that empathy and compassion. Our friend Duncan is here. Duncan, how are you? So we have 3 people in the States right now, and we have 3 people in the UK. That's pretty cool. I think Duncan is here to make sure I don't chicken out on my big Duncan Walsh interval session tomorrow. Actually, Duncan, I'm glad you popped in. I'm always glad you pop in. I forget, we settled on 21 minutes for the interval, right? For the 2 minutes to start, 9 minutes through, and then 2 minutes at the end. Just want to make sure. Of course, someone says it's my only video. Yep, I found it. I will have it up and running soon. Medic says they've even had hand-fed deer. That's amazing. Eric Lapointe says, I tried the leg lifts on the bench. Good stuff. Duncan certainly knows his stuff. Hey, Duncan, also, because I was watching your latest 6 count today, and I cruised through your videos, and I wondered, do you have any videos of you playing squash of any of your tournaments? That would be pretty awesome to see. I mentioned on UK Medics the one playlist. Let's see. On wildlife. I played through it today. It's a great playlist to keep going through and going through and going through. You can have it up and running and pop in any time, and you see something absolutely amazing. Duncan says 1 times 2 minutes, 1 minute rest, 23 minutes of work, I believe. 23. It's going to be tough. Writing that down so I don't forget. I got the outline, 2 on, and then start the intervals, and then 2 for the finish. I just couldn't remember the exact time. Sweet Acres Koi Farm is here, saying hi. Sweet Acres, how are you, my friend? Appreciate you being here. Eric Lapointe says, I still have not done burpee. I'm training myself first before my day. Actually, that's not a bad way to approach it. Strengthening the core, strengthening, getting things conditioned. Burpees aren't an easy exercise at all. Sweet Acres Farm says, I'm good, how are you? I'm doing well. Actually gonna probably wrap things up in about 10 minutes. I hit my afternoon live session, I think for the second time only. I hit the 2-hour mark, which is a far cry from the marathon sessions that UK Medic puts in on the regular. And our friend Duncan Walsh will do, he did a couple 12-hour. Duncan says, the time will soon come, Miss Lapointe. How's the injury? Sweetacre says, I can never find the thumbs up on these vertical streams. Can someone tell me how to find it? I don't know if it's different from my end. Upper right. I think. Brian says, did you see the 69-year-old friend of mine who does 100 burpees? I did see that. I didn't get a chance to reply, though. I will. Yeah, that's amazing. All good reps, too. Eric Point says, which one, Duncan? But my shoulder is starting to heal finally. Good. Brian says, I should have posted my community page, the one right under my mom's birthday, I believe. Yeah, Brian, that was impressive. It's what I aspire to. 10 more years to go. Sweetacre says he's got it. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Squirrel Semper says, here's a prediction, the predicament. Took me a second. Sorry. The queen ant is incapable of movement. Doors of her cells are too small for her to come or go. The insects cannot lift her, yet she vanishes from one cell to appear in another. So, what's the explanation? The soul of the white ant. Man, I need to get that. You said it's PDF, and I've been procrastinating. Thanks for that reminder. I'm going to Google that right now, so I'll have it up, and I'll booklog it. Eugene Marius. All right, I think I'm actually going to order the book itself, as I'd like the heft of a book in my hand. Brian says he taught me the jump in claps burpees. Yeah, I noticed that he had a clap in there. Eric Point says I have to write that down. I always forget. I did as well, and I wrote it down. But now I have it saved on my Amazon. I can get the paperback for $13.93. Squirrel Semper says the screen was even marked. It was the same queen, not clone or substitute. Eric says, I'm pulling out all the things I wrote down. I have the work cut out for me. You and me both. This is my little 5-star notebook, and it's filled. And then I got several more notebooks here and back there. Always writing things down, things I want to write about, insights that occur to me, suggestions. it's good to have a curious mind. As I mentioned before, I wrote a little lyrical prose essay a while back where I said that my only two true talents were curiosity and enthusiasm, and I was called out for that, saying that they're not talents, they're qualities, which I don't care. When you write lyrical prose, you can write whatever you want. It doesn't have to meet anyone's approval or expectation. And who's to say that a quality can't be a talent, or a talent can't be a quality? But to me, those are important gifts to have in life. Curiosity and enthusiasm. That's what got me through all of my really, really long races. When I remember thinking when I finished my first 100-mile race, continuously wondering and thinking, well, how am I going to feel in an hour? I feel like dropping out now. How am I going to feel in an hour? What if everything changes? What if the night just opens up with a magic on its own? And then just letting that curiosity carry me to enthusiasm to see, hey, man, I can always drop out in an hour. I don't have to do it right now. I can do it in an hour. And then the hour comes and you find that, again, you're caught up in that enthusiasm and you just keep going and going and going. You can do it the same with burpees. You do one. Hey, what's going to happen if I do another? And before you know it, you're like Duncan Walsh and you've done 300. How many did you do? 6 counts? Duncan says, Brian, did you say jumping claps burpees? What is that? It's the regular sort of, CrossFit jump. But then at the top, when you put your hands up, you're clapping. Unless I'm mistaken. I did watch the video. Yep, just what Brian says. You do your burpee, and as you come up, you jump and clap your hands. So 1 or 2 more minutes. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to do my own sleep hygiene that I was talking about with Brian. Our friend Balani Investments has a new video up. It's been a bit since I've seen him. He's another one that will sit in meditation. Brian says a little bit different than Star Jump. Duncan says, so the clap is sort of over your head. Yep. Like I said, it looks like the CrossFit version of a burpee, except with the addition of a clap. Squirrel Sniper says, night, folks. Squirrel Sniper, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it. Appreciate the help with Night Watcher. I think, man, it wasn't an easy live stream dealing with something like that. But I think the insights that everyone presented were helpful. Brian says, have a great one, everyone. Glad to see you, Duncan, as well. Thanks, Brian. And I agree. Always good to see Brian, or always good to see Duncan, as well as Brian. UK Medic, thank you very much for coming in, having a conversation with us. Sweet Acres Koi Farm. Hey, guys, do you like koi? I don't know. The koi might be the most meditative of fish. amazing to watch. Check out Sweet Acres Farm, Koi Farm. Absolutely amazing. It really is a meditative channel. As well, we got some great content coming from our friend Eric Lapointe. Hey, not to mention, I don't have the link, unfortunately, but I'm going to soon post it on my community page. Our friend Elise is now putting content on her channel, and it's going to take off. She's an extremely talented person. Big thank you for Destiny Forever Walks, PhD. Always appreciate her being here. And again, Brian Lane. Oh, it is what it is here. I was hoping he would hop back in with Duncan. I love when those two guys come together. Squirrel Sniper drops the link. Thank you for that. Yeah, koi, wonderful fish. So, guys, thank you for hanging out on a Friday evening. Very much appreciated. I'll see everyone tomorrow. Duncan, tomorrow's the day, interval day. 23 minutes. Wish me luck. I think I've done just enough that my back should be feeling pretty good tomorrow. Well, if not pretty good, it should be manageable. If not manageable, I'm going to do it anyway. So, thanks, guys. Take care.